you. Yeah, yo. There whenever it matters, and even more when you feel like it doesn't. Protect you so you never feel like you wasn't. Know I'm right alongside you. Either that or I'm behind you, but always got you. End of discussion, nothing means more. First one to offer is shoulders for what you reach for. Thought I saw the eyes of the world until I seen yours. And know that I ain't see a better view yet. I'm with whatever, so don't ever you fret. Know that you covered, not a hurdle or a heartbreak. A change what a partake, cause none of them won't ever get comfortable in your walkway. My job is to aware you, fully loaded, prepare you for all of the above that I'm never letting get near you. But still in all, give you every advantage I found. Couldn't find a better fit for them, along with my crown. And since the baton was passed, I've been down. Cause failing's not an option, and dad is not a noun, not at all.
Welcome to another episode of Dad Is Not a Now. My name is Ishmael, changing the narrative for men of color and fatherhood, but also changing the narrative on the things I care about. And today, what I care about is having my special guest back on. He's like a brother from another mother, amazing artist, amazing dad, just a dope all-around person. The one and only out of the UK, DanLish. How you doing, brother? How's your heart?
Very well, Ishmael. Thank you. Thanks for having me on again. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming back on, man. But how's your heart? And the reason why I pose this question, just men as general, I want men to be vulnerable because as men, we often feel like we need to hold stuff in. You know, we live in this machismo world that I don't want to let people know I'm not okay. You know, if I say I'm weak, I'm gonna look as a punk. So how's your heart at this moment, brother?
My heart is full and open.
Nice.
Resonating. Yeah. Maybe it's because I had a nice dinner as well, and that helps.
That's true. When you get some food in your belly, you have a different perspective on life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But generally, no, thank you for asking. And you know, as every day, there's ebbs and flows all the time. And, you know, with me having, in regards to having young teenage daughters, you know, I'm treading on eggshells sometimes on an hourly basis, you know, and so it's a great challenge and a great learning on all of us, you know. That's what this is all about, you know. Yeah, and my wife, she's doing very well. You know, we're all pulling together, you know, because financially things have just had a bit of a wobble. Energetically, you know, we're all just hanging in there, and yeah, just trooping on, holding fast, and you know, yeah, there's a lot of love in the house.
And I think that's important to have that love in your house. But how do you balance, you know, work and family? And especially, you know, coming out of the COVID, because I know when it came to the UK was a lot stricter than the United States for a while when it came to everything being locked down. So like, just talk about that balance. How were you able to balance, or you weren't able to balance?
What during all that?
Like during, like after COVID, during COVID, like how were you able to balance? Like trying to be financially, like try to make money, but at the same time, you know, being there.
I would rather not go down that rabbit tunnel of what I feel is a pandemic. In regards to my mental health, I struggled because I have a spirit of rebellion anyway. So sometimes I'd make my wife back out the door when I was ranting and raving, and she would tell me just to jump in the sea you know, sort my head out. And so I did that 3 times a day. I was blessed that I live a couple of minutes from the coast. And it's the English Channel, which divides England from France. And so I was in that 3 times a day, all year round, almost every day. So that took me out of my monkey mind chat, because sometimes habitually I'd run a narrative based on my own natural biases, right. Which I'm aware of that. But just to try and stop that constant chat, because I think I'm ADHD or something anyway. I know I'm dyslexic and all this other stuff, you know. That really helped. And just walking the hills, still finding community, even though we're all told to keep apart from one another, and we're all, you know, if you stare at someone, you're just going to get it or whatever. I was like, yeah, F that. I'm just going to do what I do. I've learned about the microbiome and all this stuff, you know, and so many nano linkages of the greater something that's happening. You know, I just turned off the TV. It's hard to explain. I turned off the TV, all mainstream stuff, even all alternative. Just stop the chat, bring it in, and try and focus on my family as well, and creativity, and financially. To be honest, during all that faff, it was great, because I just had the book. You know, I sort of worked my balls off for, you know, 8 years previous, and a big tidal wave, then the book, and then, you know, and everything is happening, and the shout outs from, you know, Dave Chapelle and all that stuff, and at the tail end of that, Sotheby's and all this other stuff. So financially it was great. I worked hard for it, but right now it's gone straight. Wow. You know what I mean? Because everyone's feeling the pinch, which I'm fine with that, because I'm blessed to have a regular gig as well. But balance, man. I prefer to work from home. I was working from home anyway for like 3 years previous, so I was used to that. You know, we were even thinking about taking our children out of school and homeschooling. I mean, I'm doing an interview. Is it important? that's Well, my studio is in the bedroom, and it's shared with my youngest daughter as well. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, my eldest daughter has her own room, because she was so messy that my youngest daughter said, "Please, can I come in the bedroom with you again?" Oh. So I work in the room as well. So, you know, you do get a bit claustrophobic, and when I get cabin fever, I just go out again and just jump in the sea.
I like that, jump in the sea. I like that idea of jumping in the sea, because it kind of blocks you from the craziness from the world.
Well, it's also cold water therapy as well, and I focus on my breathing, which is sort of try to, in extreme cold, just nose breathing only. There's a great book by James Nestor called Breathe. Okay. And he's just an advocate of just nasal breathing only in times of duress, and it just calms everything down. You know, you talk to sort of breathe, you know, like 3 or 4 in and then 8 out through your mouth. Yes. He did all these tests over like a decade or something of just nose breathing. Anyway, that helps in when you're activated or triggered in a sort of stressful, you know, is it cortisol? I'm not sure that stress hormone, if it's like up. I mean, during all that time, man, my anxiety was crazy, and I was having to have, you know, a lot of mother weed, I would say, just to sort of stop the chat, and you know, microdosing and all this stuff, just to try and sort of nip the anxiety in the gut. You know, it helped. But yeah, man, it was heavy. It was heavy. But, you know, we pulled through, and I found good community. That's what it's about. That's why I help out every day at a cafe on the beach, just for free. You know what I mean? Just to help out good camaraderie. And I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And it was just getting good community spirit, taking it right back to the basics, walking the land, you know, a common unity, you know, which is community. And that's it, just finding that, seeking it, securing it, and nurturing it. and hopefully that will continue. You know, so with that gift of that sort of psychological warfare with COVID and all the propaganda and all that, it helped. It was like a gift in learning of just bringing it in and just trying to be grounded through this turmoil. You know, it was proper psychological. You know what I mean? It's can't do this, can't do that. You have to question everything. The hierarchical structures, which I've been doing probably all my life without realizing it anyway. You know, it runs deep, but then you have to shut that off and just try and just breathe and, you know, enjoy the sunshine on your face, you know.
And do you think, how have you done that with your daughters? Because, you know, we live in an age where kids are hammered with social media. Like every kid has a cell phone. They're on TikTok. They're on Instagram. So how do you protect your daughters, or you can't protect your daughters? Like, how do you do that?
It's sort of raising awareness. My wife and I, you know, we just let them know, you know, you've been on that for a long time now, because we were both very slow to sort of give in to that. Really, the addiction to screens. So I've always said try and just treat it like sweets or candy, as you'd say, you know, just a little bit now and again. But it's highly addictive, and so we can't enforce or be, you know, too sort of strict with it. We just have to. It has to be child led as well, so they can help to manage themselves. You know, like if you've been staring at it for a couple of hours, you're going to get tired eyes, headache, you know, all this stuff. So it's just them just being conscious. I mean, at that age, they're going to throw it back in your face as well. But, you know, or you just try your best. Yeah. You know, so with the social media stuff, because me and my wife, we don't really do it that much, apart from trying to promote the artwork. So they try and see that residual effect of us just not staring at these things all the time. As the young ones do, you know, they'll look up at the elders, even subconsciously. They're sucking all this in, you know, little sponges, like we all are, you know. But it's an I wouldn't say it's a battle. It's just, we all just have to be quite present with it and just, you know, just be conscious of what's going on.
Definitely. And then as an amazing artist, I know your daughter's probably kind of picked up your gift as an artist or a form of art. Like, you want to
they both have that. Yeah, just we nurture that, just creativity and just enjoying the process and the craft. And I have to get used to dishes, our nice cups, you know, with paintbrushes in, just paint and crap all over the place. And I just can't browbeat them too much, because, you know, every time they want to create, they'll think I'm going to get it in the ear from dad or something. So I just have to try and ease off. And my natural propensity is just to clean up after them all the time. Trying to get them to clean up after themselves is always a challenge. And a lot of the time they just don't do it, just to see if they can get a reaction out of me. So, it's...
Have there been a situation where, let's say, for example, you go in the kitchen and you see your youngest or your oldest in the kitchen, and they're creating a masterpiece on the refrigerator or on the kitchen floor? Has there been a situation like that?
Oh, that when they were young. There's been a lot of that. But honestly, it's a beautiful thing, the way the human mind works, is that you forget about all the horrible stuff, really, and especially when it comes to children, and what it is, the residue is just the good times and the smiles, and you have to dig deep to just pull out all the horrible stuff, which wasn't that much, man. But, you know, I think that's why, in regards to women, maybe, you know, the pain that they have to go through, it's a natural block, and then a numbness, and then a forgetfulness, and maybe that's why, you know, it happens again. The same with any bad thing, you sort of move on from it. Not saying it's a bad thing. So I'm rambling now because I'm trying to work it out. So I'm thinking.
No, you're not rambling at all, brother. Yeah. I definitely fully understand you, because I don't
understand it. I'm just.
I understand it. That's why I'm shaking my head. I'm like, yes, I understand it. But yeah, I understand what you at 100% is. You see it. Let's say you go into the kitchen, you see the little one drawing on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Your first reaction is to freak out, but at the same time,
No, it depends what it is.
Oh, it depends.
No,
Okay.
it isn't. It isn't. It never has really been like that. I mean, maybe because we've always provided them with equipment, art equipment. And you know what I mean? If they didn't have that, then, I mean, even I've probably said, look, if you need to do that, do it outside on the concrete or whatever, on the walls, if it's just chalk or whatever, you know. If it's spray can, you know, I've got particular walls for that aren't near where I live. Yeah. So, well, you know, we got canvases, and sometimes we break out the spray cans and just start throwing paint about. But I always, and my wife, is, you know, always just create and just, you know, they've always been doing that, which has been great. It's only been like the last year or two, it's been a bit wobbly, but they'll still sort of get into creative projects, really, you know, because it feels nice as well.
And as a father, what is that beauty of encouraging, like that encouragement, like when you empower them, when you like, this is amazing work, you're doing phenomenal. Like, what does that mean to you?
What say that again? Is that my reaction to their work?
Like you're like, what's that? What does that feel to you? That feeling and that power of empowerment, encouraging your daughters.
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
You see work. What does that mean to you, like as a father?
I mean, if I see them sort of maybe pick up something or ask some questions, it's a lovely thing. But I always check my ego for stuff like that, because, you know, just me, in regards to me wanting them to say something nice because I've given them something. Like, here's my, you know, you've got a bit of the nicer talent there, whatever, and then they're sort of throwing back, you know, oh, thank you, Daddy, and all this stuff. You know, I don't expect that. So, you know, it's just it's a subtle thing, really, to talk on. Maybe because it hasn't really entered my mind too much, and it's never really fazed me that much, you know. But I always encourage them, and I might say just experiment. I'm not really too sure if that's going to work, because they'll just find their own way a lot of the time. I try not to dote on them too much, but it's always a balance. You know, maybe that's me as a dad. Maybe because my wife, I feel she does that more, then I pull back a bit, you know, just to try and achieve that balance again. Yeah.
No, that's perfect, brother. And then also just talk about, what does it mean to be a father to two beautiful daughters? What does that mean to you? Just be, of two daughters, being, you know, a dad of two daughters, but in general, what does it mean to be just a father to you?
Well, it's a gift. It's a wonderful gift and a blessing. And I feel it's, for me personally, it's a natural progression from, you know, boyhood to up to manhood, and it just seems like a natural, very natural progression to me, and an involvement in my being, having the responsibility of guiding these two new souls. Maybe new. I don't know if this, you know, we could have a very open-ended chat about, you know, reincarnation and all that stuff, which I'm completely open to as well. But you know, anyway, nurturing, you know, them, but also sort of staying back a little bit, you know, because that's the challenge. It's easy just to completely drain yourself, especially if you're very empathic. And my wife is, you know, I am, but I'm just learning to turn that dial down, because you just feel yourself getting exhausted if you're just doing everything and just, you know what I mean? You got to look after yourself as well. It's always the balance. You know, that's what it is.
And I think it is. And I think as you get older, you know, it's a struggle to balance. You know, we always try to balance. We try to master balance, but it's hard because, you know, we're just a master of habit.
Yeah. I've never really heard it been put that way, because supposedly you can break a habit in 21 days. But, no, I've yet to. I quite like my habits right now. Yeah, they're not too. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
And
much more to say on that.
I was waiting for you to say something like, "Oh, okay." and you talk about community, right? And what I love is how the hip hop community has wrapped their arm around you because of just your love for hip hop, not just for your artwork, but also your historical knowledge about hip hop. Just talk about how hip hop has wrapped their arm around you. Like basically, you are part of. When you talk about the history of hip hop, you're part of that conversation. Like, talk about that.
I never really realized that, and I'll very humbly. I'm not even sure if I can accept that, but I appreciate that.
It's facts.
I'm very grateful, and I'm not just saying that because you just hear everyone saying, "I'm so grateful." I mean, I mean it. But there's part of me, it's part of my character that still likes to keep everyone at arm's length. I think maybe it's that I wouldn't say a fear, but like a consciousness of sort of, especially it's that social media thing because it's all digital.
Yeah,
it's all digital. So I'm still very sort of not wary, but I'm at arm's length. So if someone says something really nice or they say words of encouragement or, they really like this or whatever. And I'll always say thank you and I'll try and get back to everyone. But I'm still aware that obviously, it's a human being behind this contraption. But there's still that bit of separation there, which is that digital age and probably me wanting a little bit as well. So I'm not going to overindulge in that. Because then I'll be a hypocrite with my girls, what I've said to my girls, a little bit now and again. So I went off on a tangent, but it's still relative to your question. But again, I tend not to go to big parties and jams nowadays, and I've sort of gone inwards a little bit. Not saying I'm introverted, but and maybe it's my age or whatever, but I'm rather into, like I say, nurturing community and my daughter's wellness and my wife's wellness. And so that party time thing, which I had maybe a decade ago or just maybe pre-fatherhood, I don't really get too many snippets of that where I'm like, I really want to go out and party and, maybe have a drink or whatever. Or just let my proverbial hair down, I went off on a tangent again, didn't I? Yeah. No, I'm very good.
No, you did. You didn't. You were.
Yeah, I rambled on. Because it is a digital thing and it hasn't been that much physicality, especially because of those so-called enforced couple of years of just mayhem. Maybe the residual effect of that. Everyone's like, well, I'm just going to chill now, work on myself. And they're not, they will meet up and just have a little, whatever, a little cipher, a little get down or just. But for me personally, it's changed, so I don't feel I have to go out and represent me and the artwork and all that PR stuff, which I find quite difficult. Maybe if it was 3 decades ago or whatever, I would be out tooting my trumpet a bit more and just giving everyone hugs and pounds or whatever, and just being out there in the limelight a bit. But nowadays, I prefer a bit more quiet, and not so much frenetic. Sort of. Maybe that's just living in New York as well for a while, and then becoming a father once coming back to the UK, and then just being exhausted from New York, and then being exhausted from being a father. I'm just and exhausted from all that psychological bullshit.
Wow.
I'm just in rest and recuperation mode, I think, this year. as a lot of humanity is. We just had enough. We just need to chill and just work on ourselves and the bigger picture. And
no, I totally agree with you. And I'm just the type of person that believes is that we give people their flowers when they're alive. And, you deserve your flowers. We often give people their flowers when they're gone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I think, we just all get very sucked into our own sort of like narrative and our own sort of bubble as we move through life. And you just have these beautiful, creative people that we just love their music or their art, they are bubbling away in the background, and then it's only when they just like they're gone, or left the physical, you think, oh shit, we really should have gone to see them live or something. So I can understand that as well.
Yeah,
it's I think it's a human trait, especially in regards of so-called like contemporary modern society. There's distractions everywhere. So no wonder these people that you've grown up with and appreciated the music, and maybe it's generational, each generation will love these same artists. When they're gone, it's like, oh, wow, because you've been so much shit going on, yeah. And again, what you said at the beginning is opening up, from the heart, and it's having that fearlessness of just showing your appreciation and love for that person or their craft. And especially, well, it's a stereotype in England. We're said that we're quite reserved, and in some ways, we probably are beaten down by hierarchical structures of royalty and.
Do you want to get into that the Queen thing, or you don't want to go down that rabbit hole?
I'm sort of I'm not either here or there. I'm just it's a person. I mean, to be honest, I was a little bit. I have to choose my soapbox, as we all do, and sometimes I've got on there and say, well, she did sign off on all the wars, and she was like, in the case of Jimmy Savile and all the royals sort of protecting this paedophile. Let's put it straight, So I mean, I don't know him. I know a lot of this tax we pay, which is I still feel is theft under the threat of violence, is going to that big house in London. I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
That's why with me, that's why I asked you if you wanted to go down that rabbit hole. So I clearly understand that. So we move on.
It's glossing over it, and I'm painting it with a little stroke, but you can tell where I'm coming from. Yes. I mean, I'm quite sort of there's a word I've forgotten, but nonplussed. I'm sort of over here or there. It's sad where the family's lost someone that they love, and that's as far as it goes, really.
And I definitely understand that. I want to play a quick video. And I want your feelings on the video. I'm gonna bring it up.
Well, I couldn't thank you enough. Your artwork is beautiful, man, and this will be a treasured possession in the Chapelle home.
So, what are you like when you saw that video for the first time of Dave Chapelle holding that book? I have the PDF file of that book. And that's one of my favorite art books of all time, Eagle Strip, as well as the illustration art book that I got from Justin Bowie a couple of years ago, his art book. Like those two are my all-time favorite hip-hop art books of all time. But watching that video of Dave Chapelle giving you flowers, how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel?
Oh, it's great. I'll tell you something, man. I was like, whoa! but I had to sit on it for about 2 or 3 months. I could not share it or give it out to the world because Jay, he went out there, he was hanging with Dave all the time and doing his album with Black Thought, and he was having a crazy time. And I think I must have sent him out a couple of books, and he gave one to Dave. And so while he was doing his video shoot out there, which I can't remember, I think one of the singles off his the first part of his album, Story to Tell. He sent me this, but he said, the timing, man, you can't post it yet. And I just had to just sit on it for months. And it was cool because he said, yeah, when I release this, then you can do it. So I was very happy for a while, but you just would like to share it, you know what I mean? And just, yeah, because it was a very special thing. I did have a quick chat with him on the phone as well, but it was very brief because he was busy. They were just in a shoot, and he'd been to Brighton before. That's the first thing that came to my head. Have you ever been to Brighton? And yeah. It was very. I said, look, I'm really conscious of your time, and I always say that. I was having a chat with Chuck B, and he came over to have a chat with me after a show, and he was doing 2 in a row, and he had to gargle with salt in between the show, and I was backstage and just shooting the shit with other people, and I had a chance to talk with Chuck, and he came over. I said, actually, you know what, just don't bother because you got to save your voice for the next show, and he just went like that and just walked away. So I lost my chance for that as well. I have a tendency of being over conscious of saying, yeah, don't just save your voice, just take it to do what you need to do. So I don't really put myself in that position a lot, but yeah, it's short and sweet.
But it's awesome because, like I was saying before, you have the hip hop community that embrace you because the type of person you are. And just your artwork, but also just talk about the collaboration you did with it was like a art music video with Dave Chapelle and J Period.
Yeah, it was J Period. So I mean that's ongoing. That we're doing Story to Tell Part 2, and it's in 4 parts or 3 parts, and each part will be all joined up as well. So we might release a print or something of the whole thing joined up, because if you see Story to Tell Part 1, it's just a 4th of this whole picture, and then from each of the people on there, there's singles, and it's a lot of work. And I didn't do the animation; that was Lish, and I can't remember the other guy. They're very talented in After Effects and all this stuff. So there's quite a bit of redrawing that has to be done, and then they just make it all move and do all the stuff with it, and that's just an ongoing thing. So it's always video related stuff. So I'm sorry, not the video. No, it's the LP illustration that has to be done in all these layers, so I can pluck out the whoever's single is going to be next, and then create a cover from that. Make sure all the bits are separated again, so it has to be animated for videos and for the sort of lyrical, the song video things they have on YouTube, which they're quite simplistic animations, but they just run it while you play the song on YouTube. So all this stuff, it's a big job. It's ongoing, but it's good. We work well together. He's very detail orientated as well. We both have that sort of mind where we like to join the dots. Especially with Jay, he's like a scientist on that sort of thing. And sometimes I just have to tell him just to loosen up a bit, because I think you're just getting too, you know what I mean? So it's me, maybe it's my sort of scrappiness or that rebellious again, just like, yeah, just quick and just dirty and just get stuck in. So he's quite meticulous of that. So I think we both level each other out quite well. So it's a working relationship. And I met him for the first time in the physical, talking to the digital age, because we've been working for 4 or 5 years, maybe longer than that. And I only met him March, just gone, in the physical, where I went to New York for the Sotheby's thing, which I had 10 pieces there, which was great. Met up there, and it was just, you always think, I always thought he was going to be short, and he's really tall, and just stuff like that. You know what I mean? You just think, you think guy's minute, and then you see him, he's massive or something. You know, this the screen is it warps our perception on things. So that was great, and so that's an ongoing project, as well as other stuff, which is cool. And I don't think I've got any unannounced stuff that I can think of.
I got one quick question. One of my favorite artworks you've done, it was a mural of Jill Scott that you did.
Gil Scott Aaron, yeah.
That was amazing. Will we see another mural in the future?
I'd love to do that more. I mean, I've been talking with there's a very well respected heavy duty graffiti writer here called Arrow, and we may be doing stuff together as a collaboration. He works very big. He's very prolific in his history, and he's such a hard worker. He's on another level, so we may work together because he's got access to a lot of walls, and it's, again, that's a symptom of maybe not putting myself out there as much as I should do, because the marketing side, I guess, does suffer a bit. I have a tendency just to sort of like being by myself, and so when you're trying to promote, you're sort of like, hey, look at me, everyone. I'm like, but getting me out of my comfort zone, which I'm very aware of, that, you know, it's good, just especially in social sort of areas. And maybe that's an ADHD thing, or being too sucking everything up. Very, very busy. It's like, for me, walking like through Times Square or something, there's so much shit going on. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I need to flatline a little bit and just focus, you know, on the inner. But anyway, yeah, so maybe that's why, you know, I'm not really promoting myself maybe as much as I should do. So trying to collaborate with people that are very good with that'd be a good experience, you know. I suppose even going out to New York, you know, for the Sotheby's thing, part of me thought, no, I have to do all the schmoozing and all this stuff. And I got stuck in. It went well. I think I overthink things, you know. Just do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you just do it, man, because you just you have a gift. I know the artwork tells itself, but you know, people need to see your pretty face more.
Oh, cheers to that. I try and be more present next year, because, you know, being at the 50th anniversary, and I'm totally down for just, you know, collaborating and meeting in person. I might be out in the States more next year.
Yeah, so 2023 is the year of collaborations.
Yeah, and experimentation as well, because, you know, I love doing the style that I do, and I guess I'm known for. But as an artist, I want to expand, just to see where else it can go, and it might not be with an ink pen, you know, because we all need to burst out more. We sort of get too funneled into, in the end, meeting the needs of the fan base. So, all right. I mean, I'm very grateful to, you know, I'm just eternally grateful for just that love and appreciation for what I do. But now I'm sort of funneling myself in. I don't need to do that. I just need to maybe just work on big canvases and do something else as well as that, not just, you know. So I need to get myself out of my comfort zone and start painting larger. Murals is definitely up there as well, but they are a lot of hard work. You know, within our seasons, I've just, you know, we just got to put the big jackets on or whatever and just get stuck out, just get up there, you know what I mean, do it. Same with that Gil Scott one that was in Newcastle. That's very, very north of England. It does get incredibly cold up there and windy. I mean, that's no big deal to me because I swim in the sea in the winter time, you know, but it's just getting stuck in and seeing what happens, you
Because we need to see more. Honestly, I would love to see you do more murals of different, like iconic musicians, just iconic people. Just to see a DanLish stamp of approval artwork everywhere in the UK. You know, that would be pretty dope.
I think that would be good, or a good thing to do just as a project. I think maybe just, but interspliced with stuff that's pulled out of my sketchbook, because you know it does get. It's not a repetitive thing, but it's just good to keep it fresh and just, you know, just flex the imagination, which I do in the odes to, you know, black music and the creators of the genres that I'm picking out. There's my own stuff in there as well, which I'm looking into different topics, even like esoteric and occult themes, so occult meaning hidden, not satanic or whatever. That was taken and changed. So all these themes run through it, and it would be good sometimes just to do my own stuff from me that isn't involving anyone else. You know, it's not an ode or a thank you project. So that may happen. I mean, it just depends. You know, it's just cool. It's just chugging along now. I mean, I've stepped back quite a bit. Probably knowing that people are feeling the pinch a little bit more. So like Ego Strip Book 2, that's just been put on hold for a long time because everything's just gone insane. The prices and postage and manufacturing, and same with vinyl and all productions on different levels. You know, it's all getting affected. So I'm just holding it back at the moment. Just focusing on family, you know, and just still keeping creative, and you know, playing my sport that I really love, which is very mindful, which is pétanque.
Okay.
French balls, which is, I know it seems like it's an old man's game, but it's very mindful, and you'd be surprised how many neurodiverse people are there. You know, from PTSD, bipolar, autism. You know, we're all on the gravel throwing these big balls to get as close as that little ball as possible for hours, and it's really nice.
Wow, that sounds amazing, because it's just a great coping mechanism. You know, like I know a lot of people who play Dungeons and Dragons. Like grown men like us that play it because it's fun, because it helps with their creative skills.
Yeah, that's right.
And their social skills too,
and problem solving at the same time. Yeah, I've been Omar, you know, the legendary UK soul singer. We played together down there, so it's a good time for him just to cut off, or just to shut that down and just be present, and just a bit of camaraderie, and no one's just you know, giving him too much attention. So it's just everything's been brought down a level, and there's mutual respect on the field, and you're just playing this very gentle game. And it's right on the Brighton seafront as well. So you've got the sea right there, the big sky, the seagulls or whatever, you know what I mean? So it's a very mindful game, you know, a little bit of competition or whatever, you know, but it's, I spend probably a bit too much time down there as well. Playing the music, you know, being passing, just enjoying that moment. It's a wonderful thing.
Oh, definitely.
But as long as I do 99% of the cooking and the washing up, I get my brownie points to get down there. so a balance. It's a balance again. Yeah.
You're a smart man. If any men listen to this episode of That Is Not a Now, the key 2 words of the day is brownie points. Whatever you get from this amazing conversation we had today, brownie points.
Yeah, but there's that, but it's having compassion and awareness of your partner can be absolutely exhausted. It's teamwork, you know. So in regards to my wife's relationship, you know, we try and just balance it. I mean, I know I play my game a lot, and I'm in the sea a lot, and sometimes it does come across as being selfish, but she told me a couple of days ago, people with ADHD trait, they put their mental health and well-being first above any other relationship. So, I mean, I think during all this stuff, I was like, look, you're all cooked, you're fed, watered, right, I'm out. I just need to jump in the sea. I'll be back in an hour. And if I'm not back in an hour, just call a search and rescue. No, it's not like that, because we haven't got rip currents in the sea. And you know, if the waves are huge, I'll just sit on the beach and like bum jump, you know, into the froth and not throw myself in a like 15-foot wave, you know, because you're asking for trouble.
Yeah, you'll be awesome.
Plus it's a pebbly beach as well, so you get scraped along, you know what I mean?
You'll be awesome as one of those polar bears like they do here in the States. You know, that swim in that ice cold water, butt naked. Oh, not butt naked, but they'll at least have a bottom on.
Yeah.
I think you'd be perfect for that, man.
I don't know. That still sounds pretty scary, because this doesn't go below 5 degrees. I think last year it was so cold, and I was very surprised that this woman who met me in there, she said I was 7. And it felt like below 0 to me.
Wow.
But it was 7 degrees. So it was still cold, but not super cold. I'm only staying in there for about 5 minutes when it's really cold.
But you have that mindset that you don't let it get to you, so you'll be able.
It's all up here. It's the breath and not overthinking it. I haven't got Omar in the sea yet with me yet. He's not. No.
You're gonna get him. You're gonna get him.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. He's gonna be like, you know what? Fuck it. All right, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, he does some. He just does the summers. Yeah, but yeah. So it's. I'm just coasting along with an undercurrent of observation of. We're on the precipice of something very unique, with, I think, humanity pulling away from power structures and trying to be a bit more autonomous and honest. And I think on the grander scale, humanity is taking bolder steps to walk forward out of the teenage years. You know, and mature and be more spiritual and mindful and not so materialistic and all this stuff. But maybe that's just my little take on it. I like to look at the overarching thing, and then this big wobble, everyone's frightened, oh shit, what's going to happen? And they all want their savior. Just got to bring it in here. That's where it is. There's no external savior. The governments aren't going to do shit.
Yeah,
you know, I don't even want to just right now. I want to keep it positive.
and you have to. And I think one thing, brother, is that as an artist, as a musician, people that's in entertainment, you have a great responsibility, because I look at you guys as historians. Because at the end of the day, when they look at this generation or past generations, they're gonna look at what's been written down. Like, what do they see visual? Music-wise, music often is the theme of the time period. So to me personally, like yourself and other artists, you play a major role in that world, because, again, you guys are the historians, especially for hip-hop. Like, you are one of the, like, historians when it comes to the art of art and people looking to the past and things like that.
No, I appreciate that take on it, because I never really saw it like that. But I think it's a generational thing, isn't it? Because I think in regards to writing my book, I was talking, or I was expressing myself as, I guess, a middle-aged man that had just grown up with it all the way, you know, to this point. And so it's like, that's why it was in chronological order, really. I felt comfortable that way, and that's the way we just look at this timeline of multiple things, don't we? And, I don't know where I'm going with this now, but I think it's maybe inevitable that a couple of generations will in the future might look back and just see this collection of artworks or whatever. I'm not really sure. I never really thought of that. That's the first time I really ever thought of it. I try and keep myself. I don't try not to project myself too much in the future. I just do what I feel is honest and creative and expressive. You know, even if I was even going to say even if it offends people, but I'm not sure. I'm not intentionally doing anything like that. I'm just expressing, you know, one, the gratitude, two, the appreciation of their craft and what it's done for me as a man through all my phases in life, and if their music sometimes, you know, it still resonates to this day, but I realize that some don't, but I still have respect for that craft, even though, say, like, for some reason, let me just throw something out there, like an electro funk tune, like maybe Pac Jam, Johns and Crew or something. You know, I did one of them, and I felt myself right back in there again, trying to learn the King Tut and just like, you know, yeah, all that stuff.
Right.
Very 80s. I try to bring that through, but I hardly ever listen to that. But I know it's a classic.
Right.
Well, I might not listen to that for over 10, 15, 20 years, but I'm still doing an ode to that because in that epoch it meant a hell of a lot to me then. You know, so it's just plucking out these strange, anomalous sort of memories and weird stuff and the grandeur of it all. You know, me personally, I could still go back to when I was 14 and resurrect that feeling of just like, you know, like you've stumbled on something very magical, and it might have been just watching Style Wars for the first time or something like that, where, you know, but you've still got that. And I don't need to. I haven't watched that movie in 25 years, but I know I still love it, and I watch it, and it will bring back all that stuff. It's a real strange phenomenon we have, and I try not to dwell on nostalgia because I want to be in the present. But it happens because all my shit I'm drawing is all from the past. You know, and I'm not really, in regards to hip hop or rap, I mean, culturally, you know, I'm there 100%. And I'm aware of, you know, like, say, if we're talking in elements, you know, broken down in all the elements with rap, it's the most commercial and successful, but I'm not really keeping up with the latest. I mean, it's more eclectic now from my DJ history and having the love for music all over the world, and contemporary or old. But I think it's as Marley Marl said, you know, his wheel has been made. You know, you can't really take him too much out there in the cosmos. You know, he's just got his taste has been refined now, and as you age as a man as well, your taste refines. Slowly sort of gets carved each year into this your unique shape. So I just don't go there with some styles. It has no emotional resonance or anything. Doesn't vibe with me at all. So I don't force it. And if I'm DJing out, it's just going to be, I guess you put it in the category of just old school, you know. With maybe a little bit contemporary, and it wouldn't be hip hop. It would probably be sort of like jazz, the new jazz fusion, neo soul, sort of like broken beat. What you can't really even put it in a category. That's the music I like, you know, and that's with the beauty of hip hop at that time. It was just changing on a like bi-monthly basis, especially in the in the 80s, you know, up to the 90s or whatever, if you're at that age or era. It's changed so quickly. The styles just dropped, and then just, you know, so tapping into that, you know, that brings sort of energy and a bit of juice into the artwork as well.
Definitely. And
what the hell was I talking about then? I was just jumping all
no,
over.
no, you hit the no, you hit the nail on the.
Must be something in that cup of tea.
No, you hit the head. You hit the nail. You hit the nail on the. You hit the nail on it. Because again, like we're saying, is that like artists are historians, and I know you don't see yourself that way, but I see you that way because again, you have that mural of Gil Scott, and the little kids walking down the street, and he's pointing at that, and his father or mom like, "Who's that? Oh, that's Gil Scott. Who's that?" And then that's when the conversation takes place.
Yeah,
and that's how that little kid learns about Gil Scott and how Gil Scott is significant to the legacy of hip hop.
Yeah, and that was for a poetry event at Gateshead, about spoken word, and so I was invited up there then to do that mural, which was, you know, it's a great experience. Yeah, I'd love to do that more. So I've got to try and focus on maybe sort of hitting up local councils or even ask friends that are more prolific in that. I'm not sure if you're aware of Dref, Nikwe Hussein, he's an artist, an English artist of African heritage, but we're old friends, and we used to dance together and DJ together, do pieces together, and he's doing really well with huge murals as well.
Okay.
They're appearing on the TV and all this stuff. So I should speak to Dref and ask him how I can approach sort of local councils, or, you know, to do that, make it more of a thing.
I hope you do, man.
Yeah,
That's your homework for your 2023. Get out of the house more and collaborate.
I do get out of the house more. I'm hardly in the house, but you know, it's not doing. I mean, I am doing my artwork, but I need to get away and get out in the fresh air. I'm a country boy, you know. I need that sunshine on my skin, or around the fresh air, you know, being consumed by nature, and which is difficult in any urban like setting, isn't it? City, town, or whatever. I mean, they say Brighton's a city, but it's more like a big town to me. Yeah, I've got to work on that. Get out. It's about getting out the comfort zone, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it is, sir.
So you carve a little niche, and you can roll in that for a while. It's this is nice and nice routine, but it's like pulling yourself out of that and trying something different.
And I hope this interview kind of help you with that, give you that breakthrough moment, that aha moment. Like, you know what? Yeah, it was kind of right. So, but if you don't want to give me the credit, that's fine.
Yeah, put yourself very, very, had a lot of style, that one. Just you landed that one right in there. Put me on the spot. Yeah, that was well crafted.
Thank you, Dax. I've been doing this for years, man. So I think I'm okay. I'm not like the greatest, but I think I do a pretty good job. Yeah, I'm not being conceited.
to be honest, you're one of quite a few that have said, "Look, come on, man, Paul, you know, just start working big." And I think it's just, you know, it will happen. It does happen, but it's just been a bit too few and far between. So, you know, I'll pull my finger out.
Oh man, you got this, man. I'm like your number one fan. I'm always liking what you're coming out with. Before we end the episode, do you have anything going on that you want to promote? You want to promote the website? I got I popped up the link. I popped up your website so that people can see it on the screen.
Yeah. Maybe just the Instagram would be good. Just DanLish 1. on Instagram, Facebook. I'm on there. I just sort of, now and again. I think it's mainly Instagram. Projects I'm promoting, really, it's just, I'm just doing a book on this ancient historical site called Göbekli Tepe, which is very interesting, for this beautiful little book publishers called Wooden Books, and they do very lovely little small 48-page, always black and white books. So I'm doing a little book for them at the moment. It was this site that in Turkey that was purposely buried over 12,000 years ago with all these huge standing stones, and it goes on for acres. It's all buried, and they've just been unearthing it since the 90s, but not a lot is spoken on it. So I'm doing a little book on that, and that's just bubbling away on the surface. Still doing Ego Strip book 2, but I'm not sure when that's going to come out. I mean, all the artwork's done. It's just having to slog through getting into the right mind state of writing, and picking my time to do that. So it's taken quite a while, but I'm pecking away at that. And J period stuff still going well. New singles coming out. Yeah, I can't really say on that, but a lot of singles from chapter 1, working on chapter 2 now, and chapter 3 soon. I think just getting ready for 2023, really, for the anniversary. Gonna get more original pieces done for more gallery shows. So I'm working on George Clinton, Sly and James
Nice.
illustration, which I'm preparing to paint. And yeah, there's quite a few other little things bubbling there,
Nice. And all those, all the links will be in the description below. Please follow this amazing artist, this amazing human being. Dan, thank you, brother. I appreciate you for jumping on with me. I know that Sunday's supposed to be your rest day, so I appreciate you spending like an hour with me. Thank you so much, and we're out. Peace.
Thank you, Ish. All the best, brother.
Thank you.